Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. I hope you brought your prune sticks because we're covering episode 5 of Loki Season 2, now out on Disney+. It was a great episode overall. I'm loving this series. Akram, let's get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, this was one of my favorite episodes in the season so far. So much was revealed in sense of character depth, and I think this is like the gem of Loki, really. And it's really sad. Like, everything happening here was like really sad.
It's very sad, I must say.
But there's a glimmer of hope. Like, we talked a little bit earlier in one of our reviews about making the best out of a bad situation, turning that into a good situation. And I think that's where humanity really comes in, and you could see that there's like a beauty behind it. And that's what I loved about Loki season 1. There's like a beauty behind certain elements, and it's really poignant. And so I think this episode was really well done, and it had a lot of fan service. Like, for example, Mobius riding the waters, the jet ski or water ski. That was so funny. Yeah, he was excited. That was a great shot.
They should make a meme of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty sad, but pretty wholesome episode. I think it was also a very low-key focused episode, which the last couple episodes, I feel like we juggled so many characters that we didn't get to bring it back to our main protagonist. So I loved Loki in this episode, and I just love him as a character, like how far he's progressed since Thor 1. Just like even down to his mannerisms, like the way he talks to people. It's like he doesn't feel like so like pompous now. He like can relate to people on like a normal level. It's like it's almost like he forgets that he's like a god sometimes. Yeah, it was really poignant in this episode. So in the last episode, the loom kind of like exploded, and all these characters returned to their, I think, previous timelines. And it was really sad, like when we got that conversation between Loki and Sylvie, where she's asking him, like, what do you really want out of this, right? And he said, well, at first he says, like, I want to save the TVA, but that's really like a front to say, like, I really want my friends. Because really Loki has, if you think about it, no like real friends other than like his brother. So I think, I don't know, it was just like, it's really melancholy, but also like really sweet at the same time. Especially like when you see like his journey as a villain up until now. I don't know. It's something about it. It's like really wholesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's what I love about this show. And I also love the cinematography in this episode, especially. A lot of shots they pulled off, like match cuts here and there. It was like amazing. And also the color grading was super unique. And I just love the color grading and LUT they used for the 2022 sequence with Mobius. There's something, I don't know, something off about that, but it was something like really cool about just that coloring, especially when it's outdoors. I think that's really amazing to pull off. And it just goes to show that they're passionate about every aspect of Loki itself. Even some of the cinematographers showed up in certain episodes or certain parts of this episode, which I thought was really cool. And it might be just for like spoiler sake to not have anything leak out to the press, but for the most part, it just shows how much love they have. And you could see that through the characters as well, talking to each other. I think Casey's hilarious too, because he plays the original guy that actually escaped Alcatraz in history. So that was really funny to see that he's actually that guy. B15. So apparently there's a character in the comics that it can see through people's bullshit or something by digesting some magical ring. And so B15 is actually that character, but it's like the spirit of that character rather than just actually having that power itself. Ouroboros shocked me though, because I was like, oh, so he was a writer. Now, this episode's called Science-Fiction, and I think it's really unique to see that Ouroboros is kind of like a failed writer, in a sense, really smart, but Loki, it seems, will eventually become this writer of time in a way, like maybe he unlocked this power, and I think that did happen in the comics. And this episode's really interesting because now we got to the point where now science is kind of going away. Now it's more so about the fiction and about the story itself. And I think that's the ultimate power when you could turn that and make that into reality. We've seen some sliver of that with Thanos. We see a good amount of that with He Who Remains. And now we might see that with Loki. So I bet Sylvie right now is regretting that she ordered extra fries at McDonald's instead of trying to help out. She's so selfish. You gaslight him, all right? He wanted to save people. How dare you?
Shit.
I feel like Mel Gibson, like, how dare you?
They should have dragged your ass down Rodeo. No.
Yeah.
So
we need
left you in that
Tedros.
universe. Shit.
Yeah, how dare you? No, and she was like, fuck it, whatever. And she's like listening to music. And the only time she went back was because her world was like going away. I was like, come on, man. You know, but
she's so stupid. Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, it was really sad. It almost gave me like that ending. Kind of gave me like the last season of Umbrella Academy, where like everything was kind of like getting like destroyed. And it was really sad to see like all the characters, especially we're so invested in these characters, and it was like, oh man, I don't want to see them go away, right? But yeah, that's really interesting what you said, like about Loki being like kind of like this author of the new timeline, right? Especially Loki hasn't had like a huge prominent role in the MCU up until now. He's always been kind of like a side character, and to see him at the forefront of the universe now, really, for the MCU, like he's pretty much like in control of everything now, and to see him like overcome his time slipping thing, I thought that was so unique too. Like it's he said it's like not about the when or where, it's about the who. So I love that, like his motivation for overcoming this time slipping thing was like he wanted to save everybody. Like he cared more about his friends, right, than the TVA itself. It's kind of like he was honest with himself, and that's kind of like what brought him back, right? I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. By far, this is my favorite episode. It looks like next episode will be really dramatic. From the trailers we've seen before, what's left is going to be something that's going to be really shocking. I want to see Kang. I'm speaking like Victor Timely, where I was like, I want to see Kang though make a return in the last episode at least, because when the first season of Loki came out, that introduced something so huge, and that's where we got What If, we got this, we got that. I hope that they do something similar with the season finale. I could bet money on it that it probably will happen. If they don't, along with the hemming and hawing of the MCU and all these problems going on right now, I think if they don't actually please everybody in different ways, it's going to be a big problem for Marvel, because I feel like Loki's that one show where you could really rectify a lot of wrongs. So good luck to them. I can't wait though. So far, I think the show is excellent. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because I've been hearing a lot of things going on with Jonathan Majors. I heard Disney's potentially going to either recast or rewrite Kang. So I don't know, but I feel like we definitely should see more of him, since he's had such a prominent introduction in season 1. It's like, why drop that character, right? And yeah, I wonder what the future of the TVA itself is. Like, at the end of the day, like, who's in charge of it? Like, does Loki at the end of the day like decide like, oh, I'm gonna stick around, or like I'm just gonna go back? I want to know what his end game is. Like, does he return to the main timeline, or does he stay with the TVA? That's what I'm really curious about. Like, does he find his glorious purpose through the TVA like all this time? Because they always say like was that quote from Sylvie, like a Loki is always destined to lose. Maybe this is how he succeeds in a way. It's like redefining his purpose by helping people find their purpose, like through all these variants. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like his character is sort of cursed to lose, but that's in a sense is really vague. Like, how can you lose where you could still come out the other end and be fine, but you may be lacking something that you wish you achieved? I really feel like he could kind of be like Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat 1, where everything's kind of restarted for a lot of people. They don't really recognize him. Like, that's the only way to get this done. But you're this monitor, this Utao, the Watcher of the timeline, rather, because I feel like he's probably going to be in charge somehow. And I don't even know the TVA will stay around. Yeah, exactly. The God of Time. And two birds with one stone. You kind of get rid of the TVA, what Sylvie wanted, but at the same time, too, everybody won't remember you. And I hope Sylvie can still remember, because I actually like kind of ship them, not gonna lie, even if it's like a weird masturbation thing. But I think it'll be really cool if they could come together at least. I don't know, but
Well, how would you rate this episode, and what are your predictions?
I give this episode a 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed this episode. I loved it, absolutely. And yeah, exactly what I said. I feel like the next episode, at the end, Miss Minutes has to do something to mess up something. Because I don't know what Loki's going to do right now. I don't think it's going to be the beast, which beast is he going to tackle? I don't think it's actually just going to be this timeline thing, where it seems like a natural disaster. It might be a who, and probably Sylvie and Ravonna will get. I mean, I'm sorry, probably Miss Minutes and Ravonna will get in the way somehow. I hope we can see Kang. I know that they wanted to. Well, in the past, they were considering to have, since that whole thing happened, have Doctor Doom be like the main guy. Apparently, that just came out recently. I don't know what's going on with that case, but let's just hope for the best. And if everything's okay, I would love to see Kang make some appearance with like a new suit or something. Or maybe a tease from that Kang from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. You know, I don't know.
Well,
what
that begs the
with that.
question. Also, do you think they would retcon Kang Dynasty too, or just recast?
Not recast. Well, they can recast. They could do like a different Kang or whatever, and just like okay, but. If everything came out bad, yeah, I think they'll probably either get rid of Kang Dynasty and just probably do something with Doctor Doom, which I'm sure they actually want to do something with Doctor Doom one of these days. But that's going to suck because then it's like, so what happened with the timeline thing?
No, I'll tell you what they're gonna do. I'll tell you exactly what they're gonna. They're gonna recast Kang as a female and say it's his variant.
Well, remember when we talked about Ravonna? Remember when we said maybe Ravonna is like the Kang or whatever? It's an interesting concept, but I just really hope that everything's okay with Jonathan Majors. I'm hoping there's some good news and it's not what we think, and hopefully they could keep it with him. But I wouldn't mind see Ravonna as Kang in like a different story or something like that.
Well, apparently she was like his army commander. Or something.
Yeah. And love interest. So I'm like, oh, Loki, Sylvie, Ravonna, and Kang. You know,
holy ships.
Yeah, holy ships.
Got a fleet.
Well, what would you rate this episode?
I'd probably give it 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I really stuck with it, and like I said, these are a good amount of runtime, but I don't feel it at all. I think it goes by really smoothly, and it was really enjoyable. Drama wise, I think there's a lot of great wholesome character moments in it for me, and yeah, I really can't wait to see how it concludes at the end. But guys, that is our review for episode 5 of Loki season 2. Let us know down below what you thought of this episode and what you think we'll see for the finale. Leave a like, sub to the channel if you enjoy our content. We do plenty of Marvel, DC, Star Wars, plenty of content. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and until then, thanks for having lunch with us.
See you guys.